What's up, everyone, and welcome to the LEC post-game lobby. I'm Sjokz. I'm joined by Ender and by Jankos. Hello, Jankos.
Hello.
Hello. Congratulations. Really, really clean victory versus Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we could have like a draw this week and not go 0-2 because after yesterday I was like a bit worried since not only our play but also our draft failed. But today it definitely felt better.
What do you think was like the most important thing? Was the draft much better and did that help the most? Or was the play much better and did that help the most?
I mean, it's definitely a bit of both, right? I think the draft, of course, made way more sense than the yesterday's draft. I think yesterday we actually like had a very difficult game on our hands, even though with a couple of flanks maybe we could win it. And of course, the comp we played today, we also practice slightly more. And the comp we played yesterday, we didn't really practice that much. So, yeah, I mean, today was a better day, yes. All I can say is that right now League of Legends is all about drafting. Like, it's all in picks, and we have Grabs as a coach, so yeah, we lost 3 times, didn't we?
It worked out today, though, and it seemed like for you guys it was just all about bullying, I mean, top lane and bot lane, because especially like with the Mordekaiser, it seemed like there was nothing really Bwipo could do, because he just gets sent into the Shadow Realm, and then all of a sudden there's like a Pantheon and a Twisted Fate in his lane. So, I don't know. I really like seeing that from you guys, and I feel like other teams need to start taking notice, otherwise their top laners are not going to have any fun.
Well, that's kind of true, but at the same time, it felt like in the game we actually had a lot of opportunities to go on them, and if Bwipo would not die, most likely Tahm Kench or someone else would die. So even though we did target Bwipo because he's the top laner and top laners do int the most, we could have probably gotten away with kills elsewhere around mid lane right after around 10-12 minutes.
Yeah,
so I think the game was overall played very well.
Yeah, this first engage was like, it could have gone either way, but then you picked up 3 kills and it was kind of...
And also Mickey's Q right here onto the galley. Oh, it's so sick right there. I love it.
Yeah, Mickey is a pretty good on Nautilus. I remember he was like not... I mean, he doesn't love the champion, but he prefers it over Tahm Kench, so that's something, right? And right now we have only wins on him on Nautilus, I think. So that was a pretty good game from him, yes.
Yeah, also you got to finally not be on Rek'Sai and you were on Pantheon. So what, I mean, of course it works really well in the composition, but it's cool to see you on something else, and I can imagine it was also a bit more fun to try something else on stage.
Maybe, I don't know, I don't really mind playing Rek'Sai every game, of course. It's better than Sejuani and Braum. My Lee Sin didn't like really pay off for now, but I think I can make my redemption arc at some point during the split where I will actually play a good Lee Sin. But right now, yeah, I did play a Pantheon. I think it did suit the comp well. If I would not be to pick a Pantheon, I'll probably like figure something else out that is still aggressive, that can still follow TF ganks. So I think there's like a lot of jungle variety still in the game. You can pretty much play everything, and what you pick is for the comp. Even today, earlier today, we saw Ivan being played from Mad Lions, which did fit the comp very well and was also good pick against Trundle. So I think it's just all about, you know, what do you need for the comp and how you want to feel jungler around that.
Yeah, so like Sejuani memes aside, how do you feel about especially Volibear now as another like one of those tank junglers? Because it seems like he's really good at getting scrappy and fighting in the early game, and like certainly just sprung up in popularity this week after those buffs as well. So I'm curious what your take on that is.
Well, I mean, I played with him when he came out and I thought it's pretty like very useless, but then he's a new champion, so he got buffed like 5 times instantly, you know, he got a hotfix and then he got another buff next patch. So of course right now he's strong if he got buffed so many times, and I don't feel like you can pick any skirmishes against him in the early game because he will just one-shot you. If he hits like QE, auto W, press the attack, and yeah, it's just so much damage for a tank. I still think he gets outscaled, especially against team comp with a lot of slows, right? You can still like somewhat kite him, but he does seem like a very strong pick, especially on the red side where you can flex it to top lane.
All right, well, talking about the meta and kind of the picks at the beginning of summer, we looked at how long the games were going to be, and it was a pretty slow meta ramping up to those late game team fights and this and that. But now it seems, even in week 3 already, of course, there's been a couple of patches, but things have gone very fast today and yesterday, or much faster than was anticipated. Why do you think that is?
Well, I believe that the meta is still all about team fighting for Drake, right? And the question is how they want to play around it. You can either play an early game team comp and you can try to snowball and get those Drakes, or you can play more of a scaling approach with maybe more priority, and you can still, you know, team fight around Drakes, or just outscale your opponent before they get the Dragon Soul. I feel like scaling is still the safer approach. We don't draft for scaling that much lately. And that is why also we did lose some games, because we are trying something else. And for example, in the game against Fnatic, it did work out. But yesterday, our comp had a bit of both early game and late game, which, yeah, of course, didn't make a lot of sense because we were both getting outscaled, but also we were weaker early game. Yeah, I mean, I feel like teams just have to choose, right? Whichever approach suits them the best, if they want to fight early or if they want to scale. But it's still about, you know, fighting for these Drakes, and whoever gets the soul probably wins the game.
Yeah, FLICKR was saying after the game that she was very happy with this game, obviously, but the fact what you just brought up, that it does seem like you're winning with kind of the early game, very active approach and not necessarily drafting for full scaling yet. But do you think that's necessary? Because G2 has always been a team that's been very successful bending the meta to your own will and always being very aggressive.
Well, I mean, we do like to experiment, and we try our best to figure out new ways of playing League of Legends. In last playoffs against Fnatic, we played full scaling every game with a Kog'Maw Lulu bot lane and Azir in the mid lane. This time we're trying something else. We are not really drafting Kog'Maw Lulu nor Azir for now, and we are playing aggressive. I mean, we can play every style, and as long as we can figure out which style will suit the meta in the best way before playoffs, that is the style we'll go for. For example, last playoffs, we had somewhat bad play, but also like not the best drafts against Mad Lions that did cause us to lose the BO5. But then we kind of picked it up, and of course, we are really good at reading the patch. If we have time on the patch, we can like figure out so many ways of playing the game and so many ways of like predicting what our opponents will play, that you know, we do tend to have strong playoff performances. So we did start on a weak note. Currently, we already have 3 losses after 3 weeks. It's pretty disappointing, but at the same time, all about playoffs. We will try to secure number 1 seed going into playoffs. We still have a couple of weeks left, and yeah, we will try our best.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask now. When it comes to like being G2 and Fnatic, you are 2 teams that have always proved that you get there in the end. So there's always that sense of, well, who's really worried about them? But it does seem that a lot of the playing field is evolving here in Europe. Do you think overall the level has gone up slightly from spring and it is becoming harder to win all those games?
I do think that the level has gone up, even compared to last year. I feel like right now in Spring Split already, it was much tougher to win. Even, yeah, Mad Lions beating us, but Mad Lions being like a rookie team where every player is so talented, so strong. You know, Rogue, of course, stepping up slightly. Last year, they were much worse than right now. They still like to int, and I still don't think they're like the greatest team, even though they are like above us, but I mean, it's whatever. And then, yeah, we have Fnatic and G2 that currently are like in the middle of the bracket. So that's surprising. And then we have like Vitality SK, like which last split or even like last year, you would just count out. You would just say that they are boosted. But right now you can't really say they're boosted because they won against us, like both of them. Like, I don't know what happened. I really don't know. Like, how did we win against like Rogue, Mad Lions, Fnatic, but we lost to SK, Vitality, and I don't know who else. So, yeah, I mean, competition is tougher. It is way harder to win the game by random team fights and outplaying someone, because Dragon Soul is just such a strong objective that at some point you are forced to fight for it. And if you give it up, you will most likely lose the game. So it's not what it used to be when it comes to the meta, but also teams in Europe stepping up, teams in Europe overall being stronger. So that will also make us stronger as a team. Doesn't matter if we head into Worlds with seed 1, seed 2, seed 3, seed 4, right? As long as we go there. So I mean, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I think that one of the most interesting things when I'm thinking about like how competitive the top end of our league has actually been is that it's not just like all, 5 however many teams playing the same way, but one thing we were diving into is it felt like a lot of teams at the top have very different styles. For instance, like you guys on G2, it seems like a lot of it is about making sure that Caps can get on champions that can roam and dive, side lane towers when you're stacking up minion waves. Fnatic, of course, was experimenting with like the Soraka and the Graves last week, while Mad Lions are leaving Varus open every game and then, executing on these super heavy dive comps to punish that. So one thing that I'm almost curious of is how much is it like all our teams are, like so stacked together, and then what is the influence of these different styles of drafts? Because I feel like Mad Lions especially caught on to something really special, which was when, all these drafts are about, these strong scaling backline champions. If you can just dive on them and instantly delete them, that gives you like such a good way to win out in games. And I feel like draft, at least for them, has been a really big edge.
I do agree. I think Mad Lions drafts have been very good. Only the draft against us was lacking, or maybe we just like played better, or maybe they just didn't play that good. But every single draft, it feels like they have the advantage, and they do execute their Senna Wukong well, and they flank well, and they fight for objectives well, and they have like very good mid prio. They are aware of it. They are aware of like playing with silence. So they are overall a very strong team. I would even say go as far as it's a well-deserved first seed right now. Of course, they did beat all the other teams except for us, but that doesn't matter at this point because we lost 3 games. So, I mean, they are a strong team, and they are a rookie team, so all of them are very hungry to win playoffs, to win Worlds, to go to Worlds even. And they have a lot of ideas, it seems like, to play the game as well. They are playing their dive comps for sure. Also, I think every team is looking to get advantage in draft, and since it's early in the split, there is no one way of playing the game because you can have different play styles. Even in LPL, we still see a lot of aggressive picks and a lot of fighting going on. In LCK, it's 50-50. In NA, I don't really know, but I think everyone's like trying to kind of copy Cloud9, which are pretty aggressive in the early game. So I feel like if there's no best play style, then it's up to the region to kind of see which playstyle will be the best for which team, like which team will actually win playoffs, which team will go to Worlds. So I'm curious, to see that. And Fnatic has been trying to play with the Grave Soraka, and Mad Lions has their draft, and we have our draft. So I'm not really sure which approach is the best. For now, Mad Lions have like the most wins, so maybe their approach is the best. But I mean, yeah. Every team has a different style, and we are just trying to get advantage in drafts.
Is this the first time in like this iteration or with these players on G2 that you're kind of not sure? Because I have the inclination that before it was always like, well, we know this is the best approach, and it showed because you won, right? So is it?
It's very hard to say, right? Because I feel like, there's an excuse I can use, and the excuse is that if competition is bad, then it doesn't matter how you play, you will win, right? But I feel like at some point you have to stick to what works, and you have to be the best you can be at it. So then you can, win whatever you want to win. And I think right now we can read the meta kind of well, and we just have our own idea of playing the game. And not always the draft works, and sometimes our play is subpar to what we have drafted, and maybe we are just failing, So with time, I'm pretty sure that we are going to be on top again. I'm very confident in winning this split. I can say that, right? It's even week 3, but I will probably say that we'll probably win this split, right, no matter what. So until then, I hope that fans will believe in us and they will keep cheering for us. And even when we suck, we suck together, stick with us, and we'll be at the top again.
Yeah, they were totally flaming like yesterday, and now they're happy, so it's all good. Now you talk about kind of looking forward, and one thing I do want to bring up, Jankos, is something that Perkz tweeted right after the game. He said, I've been having a bit of a hard time dealing with stress, so I will be taking a break from competing from next week. Is there any information you can give us on that?
Well, basically, after yesterday's game, we were like kind of talking about the team, and Luka decided that since he was under a lot of stress lately, he would like to step down and just have more free time for himself and just relax a little bit, which could help him because he's a very important role in the team. So of course, if he feels like it, you know, we don't mind, and everyone is supporting him. So I'm really happy that like how we reacted to this and how we took yesterday's loss. And right now, yeah, basically he will not be playing with us for this week. We will probably find a sub, and we will compete with a sub for week 4 of LEC, and then starting week 5 after the break. You know, nothing is announced. I'm not sure. We will see.
Okay, well, I know a guy.
I mean, Carlos has my number, right? I don't know if you're willing to play ADC, but, you know, we already know what I can do in the jungle.
Okay. I get it.
For people not in the know, Ender in the jungle beat Jankos in the jungle in the midstream season 3 marathon. So
Yeah,
there's
that's
my
just
Trundle
that
first
simple.
pick is
It's
too
just that
insane.
simple.
it was that simple, Jankos.
But well, yeah, it's fine. I take it. You did beat me, Ender. You're too good.
Oh, so gracious in the feed. One more thing about that, Marcin. The fact that you guys say, oh, we had this conversation and reacted that way to the loss, and Luca brought this up and we were open to it, that like speaks to me of enormous maturity and kind of trust in the players and the system. Are these part of the lessons you guys learned after last year, where I know you guys said it was just too much and we were so stressed out and so tired?
Maybe. I mean, we for sure do take both spring and summer split so far easier. We don't play as much solo queue, including, you know, me and Rasmus and Perkz. Like, he used to play a lot of solo queue. Right now he's mostly playing Valorant.
I'm also carrying them
And
in
you know,
that.
same. Oh, okay. So same goes for like everyone else, right? Like, everyone is just playing different games and just chilling. So I just think that we are trying to not burn out, because if Worlds would take place, we want to show the best performance we can at Worlds. And about this week currently, I mean, I feel like if someone needs a break, he will always get a full support of our teammates. Even, you know, if I would say, hey guys, I don't really feel like playing the next week because I feel like, you know, I just need some time for myself to like think about my life, then, you know, I'm pretty sure my team would support me as well. So I think that we have a really good team atmosphere, and we are very understanding, and you know, we all have so much confidence that if Luca wants to take a break, we know that when he comes back, he's going to be like by far the best AD carry again. So, you know, if he feels like it, just do it.
Awesome. Fantastic to hear. So just a couple of more things before we let you go. I want to take a look at the standings with you too, Jankos, because it's actually pretty bonkers what's going on. So Mad Lions in first, 6-1, then Rogue, G2. So at least you crept up all the way to the 3rd place. Misfits, Origin, SK Gaming. What out of all of this is the biggest surprise to you?
Well, of course, Fnatic being 7th seed, I would expect them to be the 2nd seed, and of course G2 being the 3rd seed instead of the 1st seed. We also share the 3rd seed with like 4 teams. I mean, it's still week 3, right? And I believe that even last spring split, week 3 was like quite surprising. We had like Misfits on the top or something. So I think that the standings will get like slightly clarified through the next few weeks. I expect, you know, Excel and Schalke to stay on the bottom. I also expect Vitality, most likely SK, to, you know, stay on the bottom as well. Fnatic will probably find a way to climb up. Misfits, I'm not sure of. They don't show the best performances so far, but we do play them next week, so I don't want to say too much because, you know, right now we don't show the best performances. We are like kind of flippy. One game we smurf, one game we suck. And yeah, I mean, Mad Lions, well-deserved, very strong team, very talented players. All of them are smurfing. The coaching staff, of course, insane coaching staff, by the way. You know, the drafts are just way too good. And then Rogue. Yeah, about Rogue, I don't know. I feel like they are a good team, but I never like. Yeah, I just don't talk about Rogue. I think they are a good team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can't put it into words, but there's something that you don't like, or like you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. Yeah, sure. Yeah, just don't go into it. I don't have like any hard feelings. You know, I like it's nothing personal. It's just that when I play against Rogue, it's just I feel like I will no matter what win. And maybe that's, you know, based on scrims or based on like my experiences on stage. I just never feel threatened by this team, and maybe that is why I don't feel like they will do that good. But at the same time, they are improving and they are way stronger than they were in the previous split and last year with the same roster. So I think if they keep doing that, for sure they will be, you know, even better than they are right now. And already right now they are the second seed. So I cannot say they're a weak team, you know. There's just something in the air that I just don't like.
Okay, well,
basically, about having,
yeah, go ahead.
If I would head into playoffs, I would like, and I had to play like Fnatic, my Lions, Origin,
Rogue?
I guess,
Yeah.
and Rogue, I would probably choose like a Rogue like 1% of the time, right? That's
1%.
my point. That's my point.
Oh,
But
100%.
No, 100.
Yeah,
always choose, yeah. But things can change, and it's before playoffs, and it's very early to talk about it. And
You're going like, oh, that's my opinion, blah, 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 blah. It's fine. You can have an opinion. Like, okay, the fanboys are going to tweet at you, but who cares, right? You're allowed to say
Oh, no,
what you want.
I don't care, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let's move on to the Kia player of the game leaderboard. Humanoid, he's currently in the first place, followed by Upset, Crownshot, Larson, and Kobby. No G2
Wait, they're all
members.
tied with 3 wins, though, so
Yes.
who's really in first place here?
Oh, well, so who would you think is the best out of them? Humanoid?
That's actually pretty
Ooh.
dope, because we have like all the different teams as well.
Yeah, all the different teams.
I would say...
Except G2.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
unnecessary. Wow.
That's because all of our players are so talented that we have only 4 wins right now, but I believe that, you know, we kind of share the MVPs like one by one. So, you know, we kind of choose the player who has to carry. That's why we just don't stack all the MVPs on one player. But from that leaderboard, I would say Humanoid has been performing very, very well. Same goes for Upset. I mean, honestly, like everyone on the leaderboard has been playing super well. So, I mean, AD carry role is balanced, and as we could see, there's a lot of AD carries there as well. So, just saying.
Yeah, what you're saying is it's going to be harder to get that MVP this summer.
Yeah, I mean, definitely right. We had a bad start of the split. I had a bad start myself of the split. You know, my individual play was not up there. And of course, right now we are getting those wins, but I'm not the one carrying the team, you know. I'm just like somewhere in between. So as long as we win the split, I would probably not care. But if we lose the split and I don't get the VP, that's probably going to be like a downgrade. So just win the split and it's fine.
All right, let's see what we have on the docket for next week. Friday, you have the last game of the day on Friday, and you're going up versus Misfits. What do you think about that?
Like I mentioned, I just don't know. I don't want to trash talk them because apparently my team was trash talking Trig while playing Valorant with him, and well, we lost to SK, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like they are decent. They did show like a better performance this week than last week's, and I think we have a strong matchup against them because I just feel like our mid jungle is better and they mostly play through mid jungle. So without being too overconfident in myself and in caps, I think we will take the win, and we will also win against Excel, which we face on Saturday. But historically, in the split, we have been losing to the bottom tier teams, so we call them, and we have been winning against the good teams, at least like what you would consider a good team, you know, like we won against like Madagascar, Rogue, Fnatic, we lost to like SK by 30 something, so there's a chance we just 0-2 next week. Yeah, there's like, I mean, there's a chance, like I'm not gonna lie, you know, maybe we just run it down, you know, maybe Grass will like figure out a way to lose. Like it's all up in the air, and it's all up to Grabs if he'll figure out a way to lose, which he did 3 times so far. So yeah, all up to him.
Yeah, I also think, I mean, just like next Friday looks like a set of really good games again, and maybe it's because our standings are just so close, but looking at all those matches, especially Rogue versus OG is another one of those that is going to be pretty telling for the overall playoff picture. So I'm just so glad that our teams look super competitive this split and we get more of this.
Me too. It's great. It's really great that everyone is so competitive, isn't it? Hey, Jankos, I don't know if you've been watching PGL a lot or not.
He's your biggest fan.
Yeah.
All right. Do you
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Well, do you know what we do now because you guys aren't in the studio at the end of PGL?
What was it?
The PGL selfie.
It's a
Yeah,
selfie.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, that's
goodness,
the
how
one.
can I forget about it?
Oh, no, please don't shut off the connection. That would be actually super embarrassing if he was like, peace out. Okay. No!
Come back.
Okay. Right, Ender. Oh, you stroked tall. This is going to work. It's going to be great. You ready, Jankos?
Yeah.
All right, we got it.
Nice.
Thank you so
That's
much,
so nice.
Jankos. Yeah, it's nice. We hope we can see you all in person very, very soon, but it's probably going to be a while. But nice to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, well, for us, we're going to sign off after an insane week in the LEC, but now it's time to call it a night. But be sure to tune into the LCS CLG versus 100 Thieves. We will be back next week for more League of Legends. See you then. Bye-bye. Bye, Jankos.
I love that.
Going for the face check, there's the Velos bed, but Camera Shot almost dies straight away. The bullet time does a huge amount of work, and Comp just takes him out with the Moonlight Vigil! What? Still available, they're committing forward, 1,000 HP left on him, but Cable doesn't have flash, can't get in there. Sjokz going to take him away. In goes Cries, in goes the Stormbringer, and now the fight's really going to start for Tommy. Jumps over the wall with the kill instinct. Wukong is still going to try and chase him down as Cries is getting taken out by Tommy. He dodges around, can't get him, and now Patrick is caught out on the back line.
I'm going to be honest, Upset looks like he's playing with his feet right now.
Absolutely is. And boom, big dive comes in from Xerxes. Dreams got out as well.
This is my match of the week. This is the battle for first place.
Seemingly struggling to find their form. Dang it, I'll hold that thought. We're talking about a fight in the top lane. They're going to be in trouble. But here comes the ultimate. He starts dunking down. He starts healing up. And yeah, there's nothing left for Matt here on the top side. That is the difficulty that you mentioned. No! Eyes are on the way in. Second Cyclone being used. Vander has been caught out. The CC follow up there from Shadow is too much for them to deal with. And now Banshee's Veil taken away as Hansama runs. He tries to throw down the damage, but it just doesn't matter. There's too much armor. The lethality is not enough. And now Roma gets to slice and dice his way through the rogue lineup. Well, here comes Nemesis, but into the jaws of G2 he goes. Fnatic turning. Reckless suddenly firing back. They're holding on for now, but G2 still winning. Oh no, nothing left for the Aphelios. Shut down, taken out, give him the triple, give him the quadra. Perkz, an absolute monster.